the root of it's the dollar. The root of all of these problems, the dollar is the root of all evil. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's really the truth. Until the US dollar is done away with, and people, keep this in mind, people on both sides of the political spectrum, whatever you want to call it. I mean, if you still want to think of it in those terms, most people still do, so I'm going to just go with that. But they're addicted to the idea of money printing. And it's both sides, seriously. Lots of people are addicted to this because the implications are, if there isn't any way to just print money and just keep all of this going, which is that's the whole thing that binds all this together, is the reliance on dollars. The people who printed a bunch of dollars out of nothing bought up all the means of production with counterfeit money. And so now they demand that people keep working for all of these dollars, these worthless dollars that they can print out of nothing at will, in order to spend to buy their production. Does that make sense? The implications are that, well, if you're under 55, statistically, most people don't really own anything. How many factories do you own? I don't mean you specifically, but how many, like for real, most people don't own factories. They don't own production. You might own a house, you might own a car, you might have all that stuff on payments, but you get my point? Like, most people don't own a building wherein they own their business, which is inside that building, and own all of their equipment to do that business inside the building, and own the land on which it sits. That is a vanishingly small number of people that own that in the US. And that is what has caused all this. Is that, I mean, I even just saw that somebody posted randomly, I saw even Nick Fuentes, he's like half my age, but I saw somebody post him, and he's talking about small business, and it's like, dude, he's not exactly wrong about that. Small business is very important. Small business is where all your creativity comes from. Right now, everything is stagnant because there's no creativity. That's why everything sucks. Everything from music to movies to you name it. That's why everything sucks. There's just basically no creativity. And it's because everything is having to deal with this top-down thing. Everybody's looking for solutions from the top down, not from the bottom up. Right? So, like, this is why when people say, well, voting doesn't work. They're right in a sense that, yeah, voting itself probably nowadays doesn't really do anything, but you will vote. You will vote with your money. You'll note I didn't say dollars, I said just your money. You're gonna vote with your money. You're gonna vote with wherever you put your money, your heart, your soul, your time, which is infinitely more valuable than anything else on this planet. It's the number one currency, and it's the only currency with which you're born. How you doing, Cookie? Neighbor cat. So, yeah, I mean, like, this is going to continue until people get this down in their soul and they really understand it, and they go, okay, how do I not participate in this any longer? And then, of course, the question is, what are the implications of me not participating? Am I going to be in trouble? Am I going to be ostracized? Am I going to be hated by everybody? Yes to all of that, probably. Well, then that puts us in an interesting position, because what do you have when you have a whole bunch of people together who have been ostracized or excommunicated from so-called polite society? The society of fucking douchebaggery that we have right now. Like, okay, well, now you have a nation, dare I say it, of people who are genuinely disenfranchised. Hello, that is exactly what started the entire United States. The whole idea behind the US was a bunch of disenfranchised people who were tired of all of the same bullshit that we're dealing with today. They were tired of all the people involved in the island program, and this is a weird thing. It may be strange for me to say this, but like, I personally believe that stuff has been going on a whole lot longer than just, what's his name? The guy you can't see on TikTok apparently because your videos get taken down or some damn thing like that. I think that's been going on for probably thousands of years. It was probably going on when Josh was alive. It's like, dude, assuming Josh was real. I mean, you get my point. I mean, I don't think anything that we're seeing now is new. I think it's a regurgitation of something old with a new twist on it. Like, a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. Thank you, Rod Serling. So that's kind of how I see this. This will go on as long as people want it to go along, until they can realize, like, listen, you're not as rich as you think you are. That's first. That's first and foremost. I think that a lot of people need to come to grips with that. And that includes people who think that they have a lot of money. Like, you're probably not as rich as you think you are. Because if you don't control the supply of money, then, and they can just print it, well, then you're automatically on the bottom of the stack. You are automatically their food. Okay? You are automatically their food. If you are not on the other side of the printing press, you are their food, or you are their employee, you are their lapdog. All the fake billionaires that are out there running around, you know, they're always trying to make more money for some reason. Like, dude, what normal person does that? Normal person has a bunch of money, $1 billion. I've said this for years. Normal person has $1 billion, for example, just using dollars for an example. And what do? They immediately quit their job, and they give a bunch of money to their friends, more than likely, because that's what most people do. They pay off all their friends and neighbors and relatives' houses. They do stuff like this, and then they go and they build a nice place and they go out and move. And, you know, for many people, they're never heard from ever again, right? They just, right? That's what like a normal person does. They don't run around trying to figure out how they can make more money. The only people who do that are people who owe a lot of money. I call it like I see it. And I've known too many people in my life that owe money. And there's a way they start acting. You know, because now, you know, they start telling a lot of stories, and because they owe a lot of money, and so they have to keep it going. Well, so as long as that system continues to survive, and it survives by people constantly, you know, exchanging for dollars, which means you'd have to leave that. Which again, that's the implication there. The implication is that, well, you'd have to accept that you're not as rich as you probably think you are, no matter who you are. And you're no better than anybody else, just like I'm no better than anybody else. Just like, I mean, that's just a reality. And you're gonna have to decide what kind of civilization you want, because you can have any civilization you want if you're willing to maintain it. You're not gonna get robots to maintain that. I'm not talking about street sweeping. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the maintenance of what's in here, the people. You know, look at what Japan is doing right now. Japan is saying, hold on a second here, we don't want to lose Japan. Props to Japan. I agree. The Japanese people should be saying, dude, we don't want to lose who we are. We're our own people. We're our own culture. They shouldn't want to lose that, should they? Well, why can't Americans say that? Okay, because if there's a problem with Americans saying that, well, then now we have a problem. So, yeah, I mean, I like I said, this is going to go on as long as it takes until enough Americans start to realize, hold on, we need to be productive here, not overseas, not this tariff nonsense and listening to the Orange Messiah ramble on about whatever the hell he's going on about today. Dude, stop. You're going to have to be productive here, and then you're going to have to stop backing the blue. Because look, most of the guys doing that job, they are not the best and brightest. Sorry, guys, most of them aren't. If they were, they would have taken that costume off and burned it. And many have, actually. I've run into several former cops who I have a lot of respect for, who have said, nope, that isn't what I signed up for. I didn't sign up for any of that. I don't look, and I've said this for a long time, dude, if our problem in society right now is people, doing some kind of substance in their home, like, we don't have a problem, because that's been around for thousands of years. I talked about that like a long time ago. That's been around for thousands of years. There's been drug and alcohol problems like as long as there's been drugs and alcohol. So, like, dude, no, your problem is dealing with some real issues that are out there, and those need to be focused on, but they're not. And it's because of the almighty dollar. So this will go on as long as the dollar exists. When the dollar goes away, then you have a chance of bringing it back.